Hey everyone. In this video I want to talk about an interesting concept and how you can use it to basically make your life better. And this concept is that you quite literally aren't the same person you were even a few years ago. This is an interesting thing to think about because a lot of people will know that, yeah, they're probably not the same as they were a few years ago because they've grown mentally and probably matured a bit. But there's also quite literally a physical aspect to this as well, because your cells die and they're replaced by new ones over time. So I can't remember the exact time frame, but I believe it's around 3 years or so. Every 3 years or so, all of your cells in your body are recycled and replaced with new ones. And that's an interesting thing to realize because it means on a physical level, you literally aren't who you were around 3 years ago or so. That's trippy to think about. And the reason I'm bringing this up, not just because it's really interesting to think about in terms of what makes you who you are and who you really are at the core, because if you are your body, well, then your body isn't what it was 3 years ago or even what you were as a baby. So in that way, you're not really who you were in the past. But then if you get into like a mental side of it, that also is in constant flux because you don't think the same way your entire life. So it's really interesting the way we define who we are because we're constantly changing, and yet we so often think that we're not. But anyway, beyond that, the real reason I'm bringing this up is because it gives you permission to basically forgive yourself for everything bad that you've done in the past, all the past mistakes, all the things that you regret. Because when you truly get down to it, you aren't the same person you were when you committed those mistakes. You aren't. Or if you've done things that you regret, if you've accidentally hurt relationships with people you deeply care about, or if you did things that led to a breakup that you regret, or whatever it may be, if you have regrets or a lot of mistakes that you've committed in the past, forgive yourself for them because realize you're not who you were when you did those things. Like, not even just mentally, but literally physically as well. You're a completely different person now. And this is a great concept. It's really freeing because we so often will think back on those things that we regret and we'll beat ourselves up for it. But if you wouldn't do those things today, then there's no point in beating yourself up for having done them in the past because clearly you've learned from them. You've become better. You've grown from those mistakes. So don't beat yourself up for them. It doesn't solve anything. Just accept that it happened in the past and let it go. Realize that the you of today would not do those things. And that's enough. That right there is all you really need. So yeah, I love this concept because when I first learned that, I realized, holy crap, like not just on a mental level do we change over time, but literally physically too. So yeah, as a whole, you are not at all the same person you were in the past when you did things that you regret. And that's just very freeing. I mean, I've gotten to a place where even I've been this way for years now, but when I first learned about this, I remember I would even kind of use it as a way to debate like people who are still trying to say that like I would act in certain ways that I used to in the past. Like, for instance, my mom would quite often do that to me, where she would say, you did this thing or you said this thing to me like when you were 15 and that's still the way you are. And I would be like, are you kidding me? Like, there's no way in hell that I would still do that thing today. And like, I apologize for treating my mom that way in the past, but like really comparing me to who I was at 15, it's just, yeah, it's ridiculous. So it can give you some kind of insight, I guess, or some ammo to use against people who live in the past and will constantly try to bring up things you did in the past that if you know you wouldn't do that today, you don't need to take what people say personally in that regard. If you've matured, if you've grown, people bringing up your past really isn't helpful at all. It's just them, I don't really know, maybe it's due to them wanting to have some form of ammo to use against you in an argument. I don't know. It's a really stupid thing because very few people, can't really say that. I feel like a lot of people don't really change over time. But if you work on yourself, you probably change dramatically, even sometimes in short periods of time. So it's unfair for people to say that you are still the person you were in the past. But I guess for the average person, that argument kind of would hold true because a lot of people don't really change over time. But I mean, they're not like you. If you're watching my videos, you're probably working on yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't see a need to watch them. So I can make a few assumptions that you probably are working on yourself, which means you're an outlier. And this concept does apply to you. So just for the most part, don't feel any need to live in the past, and don't let other people try to live in your past either and try to compare you to who you were in the past. I mean, we've all made mistakes. We've all done things we regret. We've all been incredibly stupid, naive, and insecure and childish when we were younger. So yeah, just don't let people use that against you. As much as possible, realize you aren't who you were back then. And as long as you wouldn't, or as long as the you of today wouldn't do those things again, then that's all you need to know. Just remind yourself of that. But anyway, just wanted to share this with you because it's a really intriguing topic. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, the easiest way you can help me out is just to like the video, subscribe if you like this content, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But above all, guys, just remember we're all on this journey together. The most important thing is that you just keep going, keep moving forward, keep working on yourself, and just try not to live in the past. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Arrivederci!